Okay, time to invite my next special guest on my show now, and it's a little bit of a catch-up interview. A few months ago, I interviewed the county fair, and joining me, we have Tony Regan on the show. I just want to say welcome back, Tony.
Thank you, Danny.
It's great to
Nice to be back.
it's great to reconnect with you, and you've been very busy, haven't you? You've got just released a new album. Last time we spoke, you just released "Every Ghost Has a Story." Um,
Yeah.
so I know you released a new album, but what else have you been up to as well?
Well, we've released a little sequence of singles. Every Ghost was a significant release with a video that we're really proud of. And if people haven't seen it, we'd love for you to go and look that one up. So that was good. And then a couple of other kind of songs dropped as singles. And then most recently, we've got a single out, which is Nashville Storm Warning, which is really it's the track on the record that all of the people we've worked with to put the album together just felt this is the single. This is the one when you really want to go out there. So we're very proud of this single and great that it's out.
That's brilliant. And with the erratic weather happening in the east coast of USA, can it tell the story of that weather kind of disasters?
Well, perhaps taken very literally, but really it's a metaphor about a character, and it's a larger than life character that might be someone who dominates a small town, as often our songs might be set in the kind of the back of Beyond or something. But in particular, Nashville Storm Warning kind of makes a reference to sometimes these demanding characters. And a bit of a diva might exist in the music world or might exist in Hollywood, and we've all seen the movies about such things. So Storm Warning is really a metaphor that says when someone like that, who's really larger than life, kind of wades into the room or back into town, everybody knows about it. So you better watch out.
Yeah, it's like that Wild West. When a guy walks in a saloon bar and all eyes are on him.
That's right,
Yeah,
and it's
scenario.
exactly that's the moment we're trying to create, and it's actually some of our songs deal with quite deep issues and quite difficult times in the lives of the character. This one's maybe a bit lighter in the sense that there's when I sing it, there's a twinkle in the eye a little bit because we're talking about a real character, a real rogue in a sense in the song, but it's one of those. She's one of those people, this character who people love to hate perhaps, but it makes life more interesting when you've got people who like that around.
And looking on your album tracks as well, some fascinating song titles as well. Bourbon Breakfast and Playing Poker. Do they kind of correlate to what the song title is about? Say, i.e., playing poker, taking risks. Bourbon Breakfast, liquid breakfasts, maybe. Or was there more to it than that?
Indeed, no, they are pretty much they do what they say on the tin, so to speak. Playing poker is about somebody who keeps on, gambling with his life decisions, I suppose. So yes, again, it's not about somebody playing poker, but somebody who recognizes that time after time he takes a gamble with his life, and in the story of the song, it doesn't always turn out the way he wanted it to, but. That's life. He keeps on going, and Bourbon Breakfast is literally about somebody who's hooked and is unhappy about that, but it's their world and they live in it. And yes, every morning they'll start the day with a glass of rye,
Yeah.
as it says in the song.
And when you write songs, are they more from someone else's life story or personal experiences, or a bit of both on the album?
Well, I suppose we the thing about the county affair is we've been around we've been around the block a few times as individuals. We're both in our late 50s now, and so our music playing goes back to when we were teenagers in a band together. But now we've put the band back together, as the saying goes. There's a lot of life experience kind of woven into it, but I mean, indirectly more than directly. I don't think any of these are particularly autobiographical, but they certainly exploit themes that we've seen in songs and films and on TV. The lives led by larger than life kinds of people.
So the county fair, which is yourself, Tony, Regan, and Kevin as well. You
Yeah.
reconnected after all those years. Americana UK stated that fate intervened to reunite yourselves.
Yes, indeed. Well, I mean, fate has stepped in more than once. There was a time when we were both students in the States, many, many years ago, working summer jobs, and fate stepped in then to open the door to a residency in a bar in Houston, Texas. So we were both in different places in northeastern USA, and we ended up in Houston, and we made 3 or 4 trips to the States based on that little opening, I suppose. To a bar owner said, someone's let me down. I've got a residency going and begging. I can give you 4 weeks. If it works out in week 1, I'll give you another 3 weeks. And so we got on a plane with our bags and instruments, and we tried our luck, and it came off, and we ended up, that extended into a later trip where we were on the West Coast. We were in San Francisco playing gigs in fantastic venues there, and then indeed in New York and Long Island we finished that trip. So yeah, fate has intervened. I think we just stayed in touch as pals over the years, and when Kevin started writing songs 3 or 4 years ago, it was kind of going to be a bit obvious that we get together to work together on stuff. So that's, it wasn't just fate, it was us.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, it's funny how people get their big breaks just by default. If someone can't make a show, like Top of the Pops, where they phoned in sick, or couldn't make a show, someone has to fill that spot. Happens a lot in the DJ world as well, where people get their big break simply by covering, a lineup or a show or a festival.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the big break that has happened recently for us is that we were plugging away, starting to write songs and record songs in the studio, and we were doing it as a kind of sideline, as music often is for people. You've got to have a proper job, and so we were doing it, in that way. And some of the early recordings that we'd made together, we'd got, we'd put them out, and they were on Spotify and other places. And somebody who's a producer at Abbey Road heard that music and did a bit of digging and made contact with us, and we got the opportunity then to go into Abbey Road Studios with him and record the album. So the album that's out now, actually, Off the Grid, seems to be a great title for the times that we're living in and people's desire to kind of maybe not go to the office every day. So Off the Grid is the album, and it's out now. It's on all the platforms. And that album, we made at Abbey Road, and we never, ever, without, as you say, fate intervening, we never would have knocked on the door at Abbey Road and said, can we make an album here? But the opportunity presented itself, and we went for it.
Yeah. So you grabbed it by the horns, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yes, let's hope so. Yeah.
Brilliant. And another feature as well on the album, I noticed there's a recognisable name from Lone Star, if I'm correct, Richie McDonald. And
That's right.
What do you like about collabs, working with other people?
Well, it's a great way of injecting an extra dimension into the song and into the recording, as well as injecting some interest from the wider audience. So we had pretty much, as a team, identified Nashville Storm Warning as what we thought was the most sort of airplayable single off the album, and then the opportunity came up to work with Richie to add a vocal part onto that. And of course, he's a legend in country music world, and Lone Star and all the rest of it. So we were very excited that he said yes to the invitation from us to put some vocals on the record, and he did it really brilliantly for us. And I guess I'm the singer and he's the backing singer, which is the wrong way around in terms of fame and reputation, but he played his part very appropriately, and we're really, really pleased with the way it's turned out. So good.
And you have some tour dates coming up. You're in Nottingham on 17th of September, which is a few days after this interview airs.
That's right. We're in Nottingham, which is hometown for us. We grew up there, and we're in a club called the Greyfriars Social Club that we played many times as teenagers in a show band. So it's a real homecoming for us, and we're hoping we'll see some old friends and old family, you might say, at that gig, and some new friends if people are interested. So that's all good. And then, we've got another gig at the Green Note in Camden in London the following Thursday, the 23rd. And that also we're very excited about. We've sold out that venue, and we love the idea of playing there because it's such, as your listeners will know, such an iconic venue and a supporter of Americana and roots and country music. So
And
can't
finally,
wait.
brilliant. And finally, one question is a generic question actually. I know you toured a lot in your younger years. How does one avoid burnout?
It's interesting you asked the question. We are starting to think about that because we were a lot younger when we were touring in the States, and that was very much a self-made operation. We were in one city phoning ahead to the next and saying, will you book us for a gig? So this time when we tour, we've got news in the pipeline that we can't talk about just yet, but we'll be back, Danny, and we can tell you all about it when we're allowed to talk about a tour we've got coming up supporting a major artist in November. And yeah, we're psyching ourselves up for that, and a lot of that is about is about looking after yourself and not burning out, and looking after yourself physically, mentally, emotionally for life on the road. So looking forward to it. But nice problem to have. But yeah, looking forward to it.
It seems that you both enjoy what you're doing, and meanwhile the audience can enjoy the new album Off the Grid. We're going to play one of your album tracks now, and just want to say thanks for the catch up, Tony Regan, and we'll cross paths soon when that exciting news comes on in, when you're allowed to tell everyone about that next time.
We'll be back in touch very soon. Thanks for having us on today, and we look forward to updating you when we can.
Cheerio. Bye for now.
All the best.